No.
Welcome in to the Marvel Stuff Podcast. And like we do every single week, we're going to talk about the Oscars for 7 seconds right here, right now. This is our Oscar talk. Angela Bassett isn't going to win. That sucks.
Yeah, it'd be cool, though.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
The Oscars still haven't happened, but I think they start at like 9 or 10 tonight. Maybe they did start 10 minutes ago. I actually don't know. I don't plan on watching it because The Last of Us also has an episode tonight, so the Oscars can get bent.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. That is an interesting little segue of just, God, I feel like for some reason it feels like television is better than movies for all but like 3 movies a year.
That's actually pretty true.
Yeah.
There was a whole SNL skit about that, and it was very funny, where they're just like, name the most recent thing Samuel L. Jackson did, and it was the Ptolemy Gray, the Tales of Ptolemy Gray. I forget what it's called.
The Apple TV show?
Yeah, the Apple TV show, because everyone was like, oh, everybody has a show now, and nobody's watched any of them.
No, unless it's like a big property. Yeah. But let's talk. We got some Marvel stuff we do want to talk about. Like we said, there's a little bit of Marvel stuff going on in the Oscars, but it'll be the same typical stuff. They might win some costume this, some sound design that. We still have yet to have a single Marvel actor ever win an award, and no movies won Best Picture, anything like that. So, and I think that streak is going to continue.
I wish it wouldn't, though. You know, I want them to do like a true, like almost Oscar bait movie, because I mean, DC got to do it with Joker, and it was fantastic. So I just wish they would embrace the fact that not everything needs to be cookie cutter and like the thing that's making them all that money.
They tried
Eternals.
Like Eternals.
I don't know if that's quite Oscar bait. Yeah,
I would say. I mean, I thought Black Panther 2 was as good a shot as you were ever going to get. I think if Dark Knight didn't win, I mean, come on, like we're a long ways off.
Logan
got
that should have
boned.
It should have got.
Logan
it didn't even get nominated, right?
It did get nominated.
Okay.
Adaptation.
Yeah, best adaptation, and freaking
It lost to something dumb.
It lost.
Well, he should have won supporting actor. That was the worst part. Is that
Patrick Stewart didn't win supporting actor.
I watched every Oscar movie that year, and Patrick Stewart should have won. It was garbage. But that doesn't bode well for this year's Craft Presents You, which are good movies, but they're not going to have much impact. So for our movie episode, if you guys are wondering, are we going to do an Oscar reaction?
I got one more prediction. Will Smith won't be there. That's my prediction.
Will not be there.
Bro, but
I hope so.
I know.
If you guys haven't watched the new Chris Rock Netflix special, go watch it, because the last 10 minutes is him just going in on Will Smith, and it's wonderful.
But now that he's done that, they have to fight like a WWE, UFC.
Did you realize that Chris Rock is 5'7", 150 pounds?
Dude, yeah, but
Will Smith is 6'3", 205.
Talk shit, get hit.
Nah, just do WrestleMania.
He got hit
Everyone
first,
loves WrestleMania.
and then he talks shit.
I would just have them do WrestleMania. One of them has The Rock on their side. The other one has like Brock Lesnar.
Dude, I went and saw Monday Night Raw a couple weeks ago, and I got to see Brock Lesnar F5 MVP, and it was the highlight of the night.
Bobby Lashley too.
There we go.
God, he's so in shape.
Fascinating.
God, it doesn't make any sense. He looks like just a cloud. That's how like circular his muscles are.
I don't think you know how clouds look.
I think clouds are pretty amorphous. They could sort of look.
Nope.
Kind of
have any kid draw a cloud, and that's what Bobby Lashley's physique is.
Bobby Lashley, shaded and everything.
He's bald too, so it's like it works out perfect. Well, this
all right,
is
let's jump into Marvel stuff. Let's jump into some Marvel stuff. We'll be late for some of it. Some of it, that's okay. Like I said, we are usually not the Marvel news podcast. There are better podcasts for those things, and there's some that I listen to. Because for the most part, we know most of these things, and most news that gets broke is obvious things. We'll start with the most obvious one, is that Jon Bernthal is coming back as Punisher in Daredevil.
Oh, God, he's so good. I respect that actor so much, too. His podcast is pretty good. He had an appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, which was also really good. I just respect him as a person, not only just an actor, and then I don't think you could get anyone better to play Punisher. I dare you to try. You couldn't do it.
I mean, I'm not going to say that because I think there's a ton of great actors, but
Nope.
I think he's awesome. He's the one I want. I wouldn't want someone else. But if he had never done it, I'm not going to pretend no one else ever could have.
Oh, well, that's true. But now he's already done it, so I don't want to see anyone else do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like we said, this was always going to happen. There was no chance that this show was going to happen and not have Punisher show up. It's too big of a deal.
Side note, though, Karen Page and Foggy Nelson, both of those actors are not returning.
That's the more interesting news.
Yes, I believe we talked about it a little bit on the Facebook group page. If you guys haven't joined that, go join.
Vanessa?
They did, yeah. That just dropped today, I think, or yesterday. One of the two. They recast Vanessa. Karen and Foggy actors haven't been contacted, but in my head, I just don't think those two characters are going to be a part of the new series, and I don't think it'll be like he'll be the worst for it. They might just choose a different Daredevil storyline that doesn't involve those two, is my thought.
And we got to realize that this show is not going to be like the Netflix show. The Netflix show was very talky. It was very like long drawn out scenes of drama and acting, much lower budget. This is going to have a lot more action, a lot more feel like an MCU thing.
But I'm almost afraid of like them glossing it too much, that they're going to try and make it too, I don't know, for everyone and not so much like, because the Netflix series, it was gritty without being like, no apologies. It was gruesome. The character development was really good. And it was a fun time to be a Marvel fan when the Netflix shows were coming out. And I hope that they can kind of recreate that feeling again, because some like I don't know. Do you guys really think any of the Disney Plus shows are as good as Daredevil? Because in my head, they're not.
No. I don't think it's the overall show.
In terms of like, if you're looking for an action drama, no, by no means. I mean, Moon Knight, I would say, would be the closest, but like
Moon Knight's very good.
When I look at WandaVision, it doesn't compare because it's a whole separate thing.
That's fair.
Like,
yeah, I would argue that I think WandaVision is as good of a show. Do I like it as much? I'm not sure.
I'd push on that, but it's also very opinionated.
You obviously know Punisher
is my show. Can be good. Yeah, no, Punisher is the one that more people like more. And I get it. It's my second favorite. It's just I like Daredevil more.
I will give Daredevil that it didn't like what the Marvel Plus shows that I have my main gripe with that I've yet to have is like Daredevil stuck every landing it had. Every season finale was good to me.
Yeah, I agree. The Defenders was a miss, but that's not entirely his fault.
Well, that's why I think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal that Bertha is coming back, even though I do feel like it was obvious. I think it's a big deal that it's happening.
Yes.
I think the fact that the show is so long is a big deal.
It's not confirmed, but Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, it's been pretty heavily rumored that those two are going to be showing up as well. And there's been people have taken pictures of the actors together, and it's either to fuel speculation just for fun, but there's a pretty good chance that they're going to bring back the best of the Netflix Marvel shows and pull them over. The Vanessa recasting doesn't entirely surprise me. Who they had in the Netflix show, like, she did her job for what she was, but her character was not that interesting. She was more just a woman that Wilson Fisk put on a pedestal, and she embraced being on the pedestal. That was kind of her whole character. As far as development goes, I didn't think she was all that, like, in comparison to the rest of the characters. So the fact that she's getting recast, like, I didn't even sneeze at that. I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but then at that same point, like, not Vanessa, Foggy and
Karen Page.
Karen, to recast them in my eyes would be kind of like rough. Like you said,
I don't think they will
tell a story that they're not in because they were supporting actors in that show. You can't.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
John, you keep Charlie, you keep Vincent.
I don't know that I
when you start cherry
agree
picking like that.
I mean, I don't want to, but I'm not gonna sit here and argue that I think Foggy was like the best actor of all time, and they couldn't find someone better.
What do you mean? Karen, dude? He was in Mighty Duck.
I think for Foggy, he did phenomenal. So
yeah, no, I like this version of Foggy more than the movie version of Foggy, but that's the movie version,
wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I still like this guy better, but Favreau's fine. I like him.
I mean, they're not gonna have Favreau has his own role. Yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, it'll be what it is. I'm with Josh. I just don't think they'll be in it. I don't think there'll be a recasting. They just won't be in it, and I think that's fine. I think they have a lot of other stuff to do.
I was gonna say Deborah Wolf was just in God of War Ragnarok. She was Atreus' mother.
Yeah, she is. God, that game's good.
And she's just a phenomenal DM, so she's constantly doing like Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Oh, I didn't know she was in that field. That's cool.
Dungeons Dragons, cool stuff. You guys should get into it. If
There's a new movie coming out next couple weeks.
Yeah, next couple weeks.
Definitely interested in it. On other Marvel news, this is one that I don't know if you guys, if you don't want to know, it's what if stuff, but it's kind of interesting. They brought out a new character. It's interesting that they thought this character was worth introducing and telling us, like completely spoiling what one of the what if stories will be, but I think it's just because it's obvious PR stuff. They brought in a Native American, new, completely original character, not from the comics, I believe. And she is like a Native American, I think it's a Mohawk, who finds the Tesseract back before, we colonized the country. So
You're saying this is for What If Season 2? Is that
for What If Season 2? Yeah.
Okay. That is interesting. I mean, I guess you could. The original character is cool. You could have gone like, I don't know, Warpath from the X-Men or something like that. It's not like there's not Native American characters, but I've got no problem with originals. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's worth looking at. But again, it's one of those things that I'm not gonna throw a picture up because if she looks cool, and if you want to see her for the first time when you watch the show, I think that's fine. Which is usually why we don't do a lot of this stuff. But I just thought it was interesting. It looked cool. I wanted to talk about the Bob Iger a little bit. A few different topics about old Bob coming back. We did a quick discussion about it when he first came back in. And first of all, almost all of our predictions have proven to be right. He said he's going to downscale. He's going to take some things back. Which, I mean, So far, a couple things have been moved. Yep. Not a lot has been canceled.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I don't know. You and I talked about this just a little bit. That like, this is I think the longest Marvel drought that we've experienced since Disney Plus first like opened its doors, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, because as soon as Disney Plus dropped, it was like WandaVision, and then you had another show and a movie, and it's like 2 shows then a movie, 2 shows and a movie. They had a whole schedule going, but I feel like they maybe realized that they're starting to oversaturate the market just a little bit. I don't necessarily agree in most cases. Because I mean, obviously, we run a Marvel podcast, so having new stuff to talk about every week is pretty cool. But also, I enjoy having just, random Marvel nonsense, and you guys seem to like that as an audience as well. So, no complaints here. We see our numbers move up every time we do a silly, game episode. So, we appreciate that.
We always said our fear was being oversaturated. Are we excited now that Bob Iger is coming in, spreading things out, cutting things out? And sort of
there's some things that weren't necessary, and they exist now, so they're necessary for the future of the MCU. Let's just say that straight up. But like shows like She-Hulk or Ms. Marvel or maybe even Loki, like how many of those were actually needed to progress the narrative of the MCU if they wouldn't have had those shows? Like, do you think that we would still we wouldn't feel like they were trying out so many things? I think we would feel more like we used to, where it was like an event to go see a movie at the theater. And we can see just by looking at the box office numbers, every Marvel movie seems to be going further and further down since Endgame. Now, is that a reference to the quality of the film, or is it more just they've got superhero nausea? I mean, I think that's got something to contribute with it. Is like Hollywood realized this is the big money maker, and then 2-3 studios just drop too many projects at once. And the 3 of us, I mean, we're not the type that really falls behind. We keep up on pretty much everything, but we're not the average, citizen when it comes to being interested in comic book adaptations. We're kind of on the obsessive end. And that's why you guys like us as podcast hosts, but the average everyday person is like, I don't know, man. Like there's a lot of superhero movies. Like how many, the fact that there's 3 Ant-Man movies, so many people are like, really? They made a 3rd Ant-Man movie? I'm like, yeah, man, they're just going to keep putting out movies as long as we keep paying for seats.
Yeah, I think you really kind of hit it because there's a lot of nonchalant viewers that when you go, oh yeah, the new Ant-Man movie comes out, they're like, oh, I haven't watched anything Marvel related since Endgame or
Yep.
Spider-Man, where it's
Yep.
just like,
Those are the
well,
two
yeah,
big
so
ones.
much has happened between that to the point where now they're not going to watch
This is like they kind
Ant-Man.
of dug themselves into a hole a little bit. Like we even everybody that knows how these things happen, like we kind of saw this coming that you keep putting out more projects. We're over 30 films now, or however many projects. Like if you miss one or two, what's the likelihood that you're going to go back catch those two before you go see the new one? Not super high. So you're probably just not going to see the new one unless it's one of your guys, like Spider-Man or Black Panther. But I mean, how many people could say Ant-Man's their favorite Avenger? The percentage is probably pretty low.
It's definitely an interesting debate, but because this is another thing Bob Iger has come out and said. He said we want to do less rehashing and more introducing new characters. And I'm curious to see what is the better option. What do you guys think is the better? Like, do we care about Ironheart coming out, or do we care about Ant-Man 3? Like, they both seem like they hit pretty low on the excitement.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just they need new powerhouses. I think that's just what it boils down to. Endgame was the end of some of our bigger characters. And I don't know if there's Thor fatigue or Taika Waititi.
I mean, 4 Thors is too many.
Taika
Thors.
Waititi.
Taika, yeah, that's what I meant to say, but I definitely tripped on my own words.
But I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's Taika fatigue to me.
Yeah, I agree. Like Thor's a great.
Why Quantum?
Thor's a lot of Thor movies.
4 is a lot of Thor movies, like you said.
Well, I mean, I'm interested in Brett Goldstein's Hercules. Like, that's gonna be cool. I'm excited to see that. But I'm a Brett Goldstein fan, so maybe that's a little bit to the side there. But yeah, I mean, Thor's one of the mainstays, but also his most recent movie didn't do that well. And do we think Thor 5 is gonna outsell Thor 4? Probably not. So he might be more of a background character, kind of like an ancillary piece to future projects. But like, who's the mainstays? Who's the Mount Rushmore now? I mean, we have Spider-Man. Everyone's going to go see a Spider-Man movie. Is there anyone else in the MCU right now that like pretty much everyone's going to go see just for the sake of seeing the movie featuring this character until we get the X-Men?
That's the interesting part. Go ahead. No, you go first.
No, I was just going to say, and they had it in their hands where they could have created the new mainstay, and it could have been the Fantastic Four right after Endgame. They could have.
Yeah, this is exactly.
That's where they needed to drop that name.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that's my point. We're going to get Endgame till Fantastic Four or X-Men. It's going to be 3 years from Endgame. Yep. Why? Like, why is Agent Agatha Coven of Chaos? How is that getting made here in 2023?
Dude, Echo is. I mean, Echo. I don't
X-Men.
know if Echo's being canceled or not, but like that's another project. Like I'm really interested in Echo, but at the same time, it's like no one knows who Echo is. Not even comic book fans. There's like there's like the 1% of the average population knows who Echo is, and that person's getting their own show. But we're still going without the big names of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Like we know Deadpool 3 is probably going to make. I mean, not even probably. It's going to make over $1 billion because it's Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool again, and we got Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. But that's 2025, right? Like, what are we doing here? We're playing with all these like
they're putting their buckets in the nostalgia factory, like they just did with Spider-Man. Like the next Spider-Man, as great as it's going to be, is not going to hold up to what we just saw with No Way Home.
It feels like they're playing with pawns.
Yeah,
it's weird. You're right. It's weird because when it first ends, right, and WandaVision comes out, and the new Captain America, those characters we just saw, we kind of like. It makes sense to do them, but it just seems so weird that, like you said, a third Ant-Man comes out. Ironheart, Agatha, Echo. You're like, what are we doing? Like, why is... I know Blade's coming out, but like not until 2024.
Blade's not even that big of a character either. I mean, he's bigger than those other ones. That's a fair point. But even he falls into like a B tier of like knowing that person. It's just... We're like
if Blade was coming out this year, it would be better than. I'd be more excited for anything that has come out.
That's true, 1,000%. Yep.
And I think
like I said,
agrees.
It feels like we're playing with like pawns when there's a lot of other chess pieces that are in the background that are far more important to the game. I mean, there's like I said, all we got left is Spider-Man is like a staple mainstay right now. Is people are going to come to the movies to go see Spider-Man, and you can't put out a Spider-Man movie every year because they'll get terrible. So like, what is Marvel supposed to do here? And I think that's why they brought Bob Iger back.
What the X-Men are for.
I know. I
love the X-Men.
It's right in front of them. It's right there in front of them.
I
they
don't
ran
understand.
an X-Men franchise for 20 years and had a 70% success rate, but it didn't matter. People went and watched the terrible ones too because they're the X-Men.
That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't. I don't understand the timeline. I don't get why there's like this slow leak of like, ooh, the X-Men. Ooh, you see this little teaser about Logan.
Like, they're trying to
do
another Thanos.
It's too far. We're too far away from Endgame to still be in the teasing it out phase. We need to be in the releasing big product phase, and we're not, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. I think they know that now because Ant-Man still had a good opening weekend. It was like $300 million or something like that. Good money, but I think it was the most significant drop in between the first and second weekend in the MCU's experience, period. The people that wanted to see it went and saw it. No one's going to see it again. Like, I'm not going to go watch that movie a second time in theaters. I didn't like it enough to go watch it again.
I did, but that was for like whole separate reasons. Because as we talk, and I didn't talk to you guys when Quantumania came out, but like my huge thing that I stated about it is like, this is a good movie if it was a Fantastic Four movie.
Ooh, that's a fun way to look at it. Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
Because for Ant-Man, as much as we love Paul Rudd, as much as like
Paul Rudd's peanuts, that's what it is. Like he's an entertainment value. We like him enough, but he's not. There shouldn't be 3 Ant-Man movies. Everyone needs to acknowledge that. One was enough. The second one sucked. The third one was marginally better than the second one, but I still didn't like it. And that's speaking as a huge comic book nerd. And I try not to hate on things too often, but when it's something like this new Ant-Man movie, I'm like, this is derivative CGI nonsense, and I can't stand it. Well, I can't settle.
My problem is looking forward. It's a year for Daredevil.
Yeah,
we still have a whole nother year. Like the Marvels, I'm excited for the Marvels.
Me too.
I can promise you right now that's not going to move the needle for like the general public.
No, because none of them are big characters.
Nothing
that's another big point.
And one of them, I mean, what sucks about the Marvels, and it's just stuff that I've been reading because I'm now going on like not watching trailers. I've been doing that for the past movies, and it's made it a little bit better. But at the same time, I've been hearing like, oh yeah, it's not great. Brie Larson, like I've been hearing a lot of behind the scenes stuff to the point where I'm like, I don't want this to suffer like the first one did.
Yeah, me too. Because that character seems like she should be a bigger character. Like the idea of Captain Marvel seems like something we could use as a society. Is like a really good female role model that's gonna like be the star on the screen. But that character, I don't know, that just wasn't the one. No one like has Captain Marvel ever really been that popular of a character in comic books, video games? She's always been
Civil War 2.
Yeah, but how many people read Civil War 2 as compared to Civil War? I haven't even read Civil War 2. And I'm sure it's fine, and I probably will get to it eventually, but like Captain Marvel's not the one to get behind. You got to find a different female person. Like Shuri was a good one. I think if we keep moving forward with, another Shuri movie or a Shuri show, that might get things done, but I don't know. Yeah,
the Wakanda series I think will be a big deal. But yeah, it's so long until Daredevil comes out. There's a lot of fun things that are so far off in the future. Like all the news I hear is about Armor Wars this or
Secret Invasion.
I was going to say, when is Secret Invasion?
Secret Invasion's coming up, but
is it this year?
It's spring.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
I think it goes What If Season 2, then Secret Invasion.
Okay, so it's Guardians, What If, then Secret Invasion?
Which, looking at that, that's really weird because I remember we were getting so hyped for a Secret Invasion, the Skrulls, but now to think that I think they're oversaturating even the content, because when you think about the Infinity Saga, they all kind of still revolved around stones. It still kind of revolved. Now we have Skrulls coming in, and Secret Invasion is its own huge blockbuster moment. And then we also have the Kang Dynasty. We have Secret. Like they are adding so.
I think
much.
What it is like the well's going dry, guys. Like we need to go find another well. We need to find something else. Like X-Men, Fantastic Four, both very plentiful. They're gonna like make the numbers go back to what the studios really want to see. But is it worth putting? Like, why? do they have to put out something as often as they're doing? I know I kind of said the opposite earlier, but the more I think about it, it's like if they release things more sparsely, it would, mean more when something came out.
I think you could do it with generally the same schedule they are, and just do more characters we cared about. Like I think you could have done the same schedule, right? Like I'm gonna keep ragging on Agatha, who's someone I like. I thought it was cool, but like
great.
They like greenlit Agatha after WandaVision. That's ridiculous. Greenlight a Gambit show. Greenlight like anything else that like will get people excited. Like people would be pumped.
Very good point.
It's so weird.
I think they're saving things that they shouldn't save. They need a savior now.
That's my ultimate point.
They aren't playing the cards that they have.
Yeah, I don't think
they think that this game of poker is going to be lasting another 10, 20 years, and it's not.
It's just not. I mean, almost everyone I talk to that's not like a true blue superhero fan, they're just like, they're over it, man. Endgame, then they're like, okay, I'll watch the new Spider-Man. And that was kind of the end of it for a lot of people. And again, the box office is reflecting
more
that.
than anything.
Exactly.
9 times out, people are only going to watch Deadpool because of the nostalgia factor of having Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
Yep.
If I were to tell you, it's based off of this comic arc, you wouldn't care. You would not.
Well, it's just like trying to market Deadpool 2 again. They pulled out Deadpool 2 again. They're just like, oh yeah, Cable's going to be in it. It's like, Cable's cool, but he's also like a C tier X-Men. Like, what?
I am curious.
Thanos.
I do wonder about late game. Like, say the new X-Men movie comes out. That's going to be a big deal, I think. But is it going to be? If it waits till 2026, is that like too late? Is that like? To me, that's what I'm saying. I think that feels too late. It feels like
they're bleeding.
You let Marvel die before you got your big guns in the game. You know what I mean?
It's like you're losing the nostalgia factor, and I think, like you said, we need new stuff. I mean, everyone's paying for nostalgia right now. That's true, but we're getting to the point where like we hit on all the big things, and we're re-hitting them. And it's just there's exhaustion. It sucks, and I wish that it wasn't the case because clearly we're huge fans, and this isn't like an episode dedicated to dogging on Marvel because that's really not what we're about over here. But we're just trying to acknowledge what's going on right now. It's not positive for the outlook that we've got coming.
Well, let's talk something else then. Let's talk about James Spader coming back for Armor Wars, which seems like another thing that, like, obviously you're gonna have Armor Wars.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even hear that, but
I didn't either. Let's get some Ultron in here. Oh man,
it's not officially confirmed, but it definitely is gonna happen.
That was my biggest complaint about Age of Ultron, is that the Age was one movie and he's a big character.
Yeah, I think there's a chance to make Armor Wars cool. I think there's people like suits. I mean, it's a base level. Yeah. So.
Oh, is it a movie now? Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be. I think that was the point. Supposed to be the change. Okay. So people like suits. Suits are cool. I don't love.
Don't do Midnight Angel again, though. That thing looks so dumb in Wakanda Forever. Don't do that again. I didn't care for Ironheart either, honestly.
You can just make them look better. I think they just didn't look good. Make them look cooler. This would be my suggestion. But I just think there's a chance for Armor War to be cool. I think Ultron has to be in it for me to have my interest, and I think that's one of those things that would spark an interest. I think people would go, "Ooh, I kind of like the Age of Ultron. Yeah, I'd watch Armor Wars if Ultron is like the main bad guy." So I'm for that. I mean, obviously, we're for Vision coming back. We're for, all the people coming back. So I don't know. I think that's positive news. That sort of is what we're saying. You got to have the big guns.
We're getting diluted, and I think that's a little bit to do with it. It's like, just let Chris Evans move on, guys. He's a good actor, and he's trying to do other things. And everyone's like, come back as Cap. It'll make everyone go crazy, which is true. Or like Robert Downey, he's another one. I mean,
you got to treat them. If you treat the MCU like the WWE, you got to let your legends pop.
Like get some Undertaker
showing up, you get bored. But if he shows up for one episode or for a main event, boom.
Noah, this is why I love having you on the podcast.
Stop asking him to come back for Armor Wars.
Coach,
don't have him.
Doesn't get the WWE stuff.
First off, I love WWE. Don't act like I don't know. I love it. When Brock Lesnar F5 someone, no, I'm kidding. I do know a little bit
Okay.
about
I
WWE.
knew
But,
you
but
would.
I do
think
know a
that's
little
the
bit
same
about
thing.
WWE.
I know you know a little bit because you hang out with me and Zach DeLong. Shout out to
Like
that guy.
when Goldberg came back, is to your point, like that was a big deal to me. Someone who hadn't watched WWE in a long time. I watched probably for 2 months because I was like, oh, dude, Goldberg's
Yeah,
back. That's
Gold-
awesome. But that's because he hadn't been around for 15 years.
Yep.
So
That's exactly
There's-
what it is. I like that. I like that thought process now because it's like you got the Undertaker who had the streak for 10 years after his career was really should have been over, and he just kept coming back once a year. He's like, I'm gonna come back for 2 months before WrestleMania. I'm gonna choke slam some dudes and keep the streak moving, and then
But yes,
Might
I have-
tell it out of you.
that was
I have no interest in seeing Tony Stark in anything really for a while because
Yeah.
we have another option. I know we just spent all this time whining about like we have the option. We have the X-Men now. We have the Fantastic Four now. We have the big guns, so we don't need to rely on nostalgia, but we need to get our star
Dude.
players in the game.
Do we want to talk about Secret Wars? I think we're too far away from Secret Wars, but the big rumors surrounding
that
everything to do with
everyone.
Here's what we
everybody
do.
that ever
Yeah,
played
yeah.
a superhero is
Here's what
coming
we're
back.
gonna do. We're gonna talk about it now, and we're not gonna talk about it again for a year. I get that there is a rumor every single week. So if
Yes.
you guys are listening to this and you want us to talk about the rumors of Secret Wars, again, that's not our podcast. Because
Yes.
A, it's way too far away, and
Yep.
B, half will be true, and the other half that won't be true, you guys will all whine about it when the movie comes out. I feel like it's so, but yes.
Except when our spoilers are 100% accurate, like we do on
Yeah,
our theme
we
weeks
are
where
perfect.
Like they always are.
Colin Weaver showed up in Spider-Man: No Way
That's fine.
Home, and there was definitely a chair there, and Jeremy Irons was live action Scar. It was great. It was all
We're not going to talk about things unless we know they're true, and those things are true, and everything else. Yeah, Secret Wars is an interesting concept. It's the kind of concept that, like, you can say anyone's
Would
coming
really
back in any sort of capacity. And, like, what does that mean? Like, who knows? Right? When we say Robert Downey Jr. is coming back for Secret Wars, like, what does that mean? Does his
Well,
face
I mean,
come back?
but
Or does
I like
his-
the fun ones where it's just like Ben Affleck coming back as Daredevil for a
Nicholas
movie.
Yeah.
Cage.
a lot of those
And
things. a lot of
Jessica
those.
Alba, like, let's go, dude. Give me some Jessica Alba. I'm into it. Let's do it.
Yeah, any of them could be
Invisible-
true.
But
That's
see,
the thing.
that's still playing the nostalgia. That's still
Yeah,
that is
That's
still playing
that's
the
all they
nostalgia.
have left right now. Noah. They need
Yeah,
to do
until
something.
until they bring out the star players, you got to do something. Secret Wars is an interesting one. Like we said, it's a long ways away. You're going to hear a lot of because you can, because Secret Wars, because you can, because the multiverse exists. Like at any given moment, anyone could come back. Spider-Man proved that to
Yep.
great success, and people loved it. But don't let yourself get wrapped up in it, because then you're going to go into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
and
and
then
be
everybody's
annoyed.
supposed to show up. Yeah, that was the real
Yeah.
problem. Was like people got their hopes up too high for like a specific thing or person to show up, and then like even if the movie's like a 9 out of 10, it's still gonna fall short to them because the one thing that they were certain was gonna happen didn't actually come through.
Right.
So it's just, again, there's going to be a lot. I think we'll know a lot more in a year, and then we'll know
Yep.
a lot more than that in a year and a half, and then we'll actually have an idea of who might actually be showing up. But this far out, when someone says, "Oh, this
Rumor
person's
is-
going to be in Secret Wars," like
Coach is gonna have 7 kids by the time that movie comes out. So
Coach is having no more kids. Coach is the second kid hasn't even shown up, and I'm already tired just thinking about it. So, man's too old for that. But yeah,
I think I'm good with my. I think one.
you're good with the
I
one.
think that's.
One and
Yeah, I
done.
think I'm good.
I think I'm over the Fantastic Four rumors again. Nothing's been confirmed. But there's,
yeah.
They just keep rumors. Again, it's one of those things that they've been teasing out for too long. At this point, just tell us who's in Fantastic Four. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's my biggest qualm with Kevin, and I mean not James right now with DC, because he's kind of being like, no, this isn't true. Stop doing that. I'll tell you. Like he's at least. doing that.
I respect
Kevin
James Gunn
just
for
lets
doing
people
that.
run wild. Like he has not gone out and just been like, this isn't true. He's
Well-
just like, no, let him speculate.
Well, let's not sit here and pretend like they didn't read some of those speculations. You're like, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And then it turns out awesome. So it can work both ways. Facebook user, sorry, we can't identify you on the pod, but said Secret War script isn't even finished yet, which is true. So like, how can we really have any rumors on who's showing up when the movie doesn't actually exist?
Yep.
The
So
movie
if you-
doesn't know where it's going.
That's always my defense when we don't talk about these rumors. It's like, guys,
Yes.
literally the script's not done yet. For like 90% of the rumors I hear,
Yep.
They haven't even written the movie. So there's just
Come
no
on,
way.
Lou Ferrigno returning is going to be so good.
That's true though. That one's we know that one's true. I've confirmed that with no one, which is the only people I need to confirm it with.
Well, yeah, because they don't have Monster Hulk anymore. It's all Professor Hulk. So I don't know. I love
last thing I want to talk about was Scarlet Witch continuing to. Elizabeth Olsen really wants to come back.
I did
she
see
keeps
that.
Talking about it. She's had at least 2 interviews now post Multiverse of Madness, where she's talked about wanting to come back.
She's a different exception to what some of those guys, because she's been doing it for a very long time too. But she's not ready to hang it up. She's just like, listen, this character is great for me. It's great for my career. She's more taking on the benefits than looking at kind of the faults that come with being a Marvel star. Is like you kind of get typecasted for a little while afterwards. Like I'm sure it was hard for Chris Evans to get any job where he wasn't like a Boy Scout or whatever for a little bit there, but he's clearly broken that. And Elizabeth Olsen's great, and we've already seen a different version of Elizabeth Olsen even within the Multiverse of Madness. So I mean, it's definitely not too far-fetched. I would be surprised if they didn't take advantage of her coming back.
I think they're holding on until X-Men. I think we're going.
I think that might be the better move. Is like that character is pretty.
So 30 years from now,
to the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yeah.
2053.
Roughly 30 years. Yep.
I'm just gonna keep teasing them out forever.
Yeah, I truly think, and this is me going on. I think we will see Elizabeth Olsen after credit Agatha Coven with Amnesia, and then we just have her as an X-Men for a while. That's what I think they should do.
We'll see.
That would be dope. All right, well, that's most of the Marvel rumors I've heard. Wakanda's working title is reported to be the Golden City, which is an interesting little tidbit to people who know the comic book. It could be referencing the capital city, which would make sense for what the show would be about. Makes me think it may be a little more political, but that's still just a rumor. And also, the Wakanda series is quite a ways off. And again, hasn't even started filming yet. So
can we acknowledge that maybe that has something to do with this, like the fact that COVID made things significantly harder to get anything done. So now we're finally getting to that point where it's just like, we couldn't do the giant big budget movie. We gotta now they're playing catch up a little bit. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but yeah, the big guns are nowhere to be seen, and I'd really like them to be here.
What I would say for that is and I don't know how writers worked during the pandemic. I don't know how writing worked.
Mostly remote, I believe.
Right. You would think that it's remote, so you would think that this kind of backup of stories wouldn't be a thing. You would think that they would kind of already have some of the stuff laid out. They couldn't
filming it. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I don't know. We're not the speculation podcast for a reason, because we're probably not that great at it. But at the same time, we're like, haven't done this in a while. There's a couple of Marvel things, some Marvel news. It was fun enough while it lasted. See you next year.
Yeah. It does feel like the big problem was just that Phase 4 was just a weird phase. It didn't lead to anything. It just sort of was like, here's a bunch of characters. Some we're ending some stories.
Supposed to be
starting new characters.
Dealing with the fallout of Endgame, but then it didn't feature a lot of the characters from Endgame. So it's like... No.
It was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be a passing of the torch, kind of like in between.
I like the beginning of it. I really like the beginning of Phase 4.
Yeah, me too. It seemed like it was going to do well, but then, I don't know. The Young Avengers, more and more of them are showing up. Is that going to be good, or is that going to be? I don't know.
But again, that's so many. But it's, you know what? It's
way down the line.
Comic book fashion. It is kind of truly comic book fashion. The way that they're now releasing stuff is like, hey. You want to read this? Well, now you got to go and read issue number 76 of it. Like they're treating the movies and the TV shows like comic book issues and graphic novels.
Yeah, and there's a reason why.
For a fan, we love that, but for a typical reader,
there aren't that many typical readers. I think that's it. Going these deep cuts is becoming more and more niche, which is making the projects less and less popular. I mean, it's great for the minority, which, I think they can appreciate as fan service, but at the same time, I mean, even that, they're trying to manipulate the things that we love the most about these characters and kind of make them more digestible to a larger society, I guess. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, well, this was fun. We might change the episode to Marvel Sucks.
That's not
According
true.
to the Marvel Sucks podcast. That seems like
Still love
the
Marvel.
no. I think for the most part, looking at the schedule, it's this next year. It's this next 12 months, like until Daredevil comes out, that I'm just sort of bummed about.
It's
But
the T-bone on the fishing lines, like in front of us, like Tom and Jerry style, where we just keep chasing the next big thing. But we're just not going to catch it. You got to run
I
into a
think we
wall
will.
to do that.
we're gonna get there
Yeah.
eventually. It's gonna be Daredevil. I think once Daredevil hits,
I hope it's Daredevil.
there's a lot of good projects after that. So
The way that you guys are holding up this Daredevil makes
don't
me.
push me.
Oh,
You know what? I have very little to hold on to. Just The Last of Us ends today. And then
don't
I have
remind me, dude.
Mandalorian and then nothing. Do not just let me look forward to Daredevil
God,
with
it's
all
gonna
of
be
my
so good.
beautiful, beautiful hearts. This is fun. This is different. It's a little way to catch up on news. Like I said, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do it as large breakdowns rarely instead of keeping up every week. But it is fun to do. It's fun to talk about.
I have a lot more fun playing games and tier lists, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
I think our audience likes that a bit more too. But we got to throw, some speculation a bone every once in a while because it is an integral part of being a fan, even if we don't put it on screen.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we still do it. We do it in our heads. Don't let
Or
don't
to
let
each
us
other.
pretend to. We don't. All right. Well, until the next time. Try not to have too much fun without us, guys. Thanks for joining. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff.